I met Lily this summer after my buddy Sam convinced me to come to a rooftop party downtown. She stepped out of an elevator like she owned sunlight and the room folded around her smile. I was 28, greasy from the garage, still sleeping with my boots by the bed and dreaming about opening a real shop someday, but when she laughed at my stupid joke and tucked her hair behind her ear, I believed I could be more than grease and late nights. We moved fast, because she loved intensity. 2 months in, she'd already picked paintings for the wall and texted her mother that she'd settled. I loved that reckless certainty. Her phone wallpaper was a photo of us at 2 in the morning with pizza boxes and a busted stereo. That picture became my altar. She worked events and PR for a boutique agency. Her calendar was chaos, glitter, and handshakes with strangers, and I learned to trust the gaps. I trusted because she taught me how, by showing up at the garage with coffee, by calling at noon to say she missed me, by slipping her fingers through mine on the couch when rain rattled the windows. Then came the little things. I'm just popping out with a client that stretched to midnight, the perfume that smelled faintly of an after-party, a lipstick mark on a shirt she swore was from a margarita. I swallowed each doubt like a bitter pill and told myself I was insecure. The night she left for her mother's was a blur of hugs and the same soft light. She kissed my forehead and promised she'd be back in 5 days. On day 2, I walked past a reservation at an Italian place and froze because the hostess waved me in with a smile I didn't earn. There, under the warm glow of string lights, she sat with a man who had an expensive laugh, the kind of man who wore name-brand cologne and a watch that winked gold whenever he moved. She leaned across his hand and kissed the knuckles. She looked like she belonged there, and in that moment the world became a room I no longer recognized. I took 3 pictures with my phone, each snap a little hammer against whatever softness remained in me. I didn't confront them. I didn't shout. I walked away, stomach hollow, but a calculation formed while I walked. If she had been cheating, I would not be the spectacle. I would be the silence that rewrites everything. I didn't tell her what I saw, not at first, because rage makes noise but revenge requires patience, and I wanted her to walk blind into the trap she had built for herself. When she came home 3 days later with fake exhaustion in her voice and a suitcase full of laundry from mom's, I kissed her cheek like nothing was wrong and asked if she wanted Chinese or Thai for dinner. And her smile of relief nearly broke my composure. From that moment, every conversation was a rehearsal, every shared meal a stage, and I was the only one reading from the real script. I went through her phone when she showered, and the proof was all there: text threads with Ethan from work full of hotel room jokes, playlists they'd made together, secret photos of sunsets with his silhouette. I copied everything onto a spare drive and then slipped her phone back exactly the way I found it. I wasn't going to confront her until every piece of the puzzle fit. I began withdrawing money from our shared savings in small, invisible amounts, routing it into an account only I controlled. I told her bills were higher, the shop was slow, and she nodded without looking too hard. Meanwhile, I charmed her mother with weekly check-in calls, offered to help her brother with his resume, built a quiet network of goodwill around her family so that when the truth surfaced I would not be the villain in their eyes. The whole time Lily performed her charade, sighing about late meetings and after-parties while spritzing the same perfume that had already betrayed her once. I stayed patient. I smiled in bed, cooked breakfast, and asked about her dreams, and the colder I grew inside, the warmer I acted on the outside. It became almost funny, this theater we were performing. She thought she was playing me, and I was letting her believe it, step after step, while the ground under her life thinned to glass. By the time her birthday rolled around, I had already transferred the lease to my name, rerouted the utilities, and collected enough evidence to turn even her closest friends against her. All that was left was to choose the moment of revelation, to decide how loud or quiet I wanted her downfall to be. I picked the night carefully. It had to be a night when she would be sure of applause. Sure of sympathy, a night when her arrogance would be at full volume so the fall would echo farther. Lily had a PR gala, her calendar marked it for months, an industry circle jerk where faux support and real networking braided together. I RSVP'd under a different name, bought a ticket in the back row, and arranged for a friend at the venue to handle the rest. That friend, Maria, was a woman who had iced me when the shop first hired her for a charity event. She owed me one and understood the art of timing. While Lily was putting on the dress and the practiced smile, I made my move in the only place she thought was safe, her social sphere. First, I sent a careful anonymous package to the agency's HR photos. Screenshots, dates, times, not an accusation, but an evidence trail that raised questions. At the same time, I slid a sealed envelope to her mother containing the same images, one with a note saying, "I thought you'd like to see the truth." I watched from a corner of the room as she walked in, triumphant, collecting pats on the back, laughs, "Lily, darling, you did amazing." She basked, unaware that I had already turned her applause into thin glass. Midway through the gala, the lights dimmed for a speaker. That was my cue. Maria staged a small interruption, subtle, a dropped microphone, a technical pause, and in that hush, someone in the front row received a text message, then another, and another. People frowned. Phones came out. The agency director's face drained color. Whispers threaded through the room like smoke. Lily's smile flickered. In minutes, the murmurs became a wave. Her manager asked to speak with her privately. Her closest colleague's eyes glinted with curiosity and disapproval. She tried to laugh it off, but then her phone buzzed again, this time with a picture of her in the restaurant, the one I had taken, now circulating in a private group chat where the director had dropped it. The director's expression hardened, and someone called security. The rest unfolded like a script I had written: hushed conversations, pointed looks, a group of people who had once toasted her now stepping away. She approached me with a shaky smile, whispering, "What's happening?" And for the first time I let a sliver of truth color my voice. "You built a good life here, Lily. I think you should decide who to tell first." Her composure cracked, and I saw the proud facade, sharp, polished, begin to flake. The fallout didn't happen overnight, but the gala was the first domino. Within a week she was on leave from the agency, though anyone who had been around knew it was a slow shove toward the exit. Clients didn't like scandals, even unconfirmed ones, and the pictures told their own story louder than her excuses could. Friends she once bragged about turned cold, not cruel, just calculating, as if her worth had been shaved down overnight. I stayed quiet, never admitting to anything, never stepping out of my lane, just letting the world rearrange itself around her choices. What made it perfect wasn't the public embarrassment, it was the silence afterward. She called me once, late at night, her voice cracked with anger and fear, demanding to know if I was behind it. I listened until she paused and then said, "You know, Lily, I used to think loyalty meant something. Turns out it still does, to me." Then I hung up. That was the last time we spoke. From mutual friends, I learned she tried to rebuild in another city, but her reputation followed her like a shadow that wouldn't stretch in daylight. I didn't celebrate, didn't brag. Instead, I poured myself into my own projects, signed a contract I'd been chasing, and started sleeping better than I had in years. Sometimes I think about the restaurant, the night I caught them laughing like conspirators, and I realize revenge didn't heal me, it wasn't supposed to. What it did was restore balance. She had taken my trust and used it as her stepping stone. But I showed her that even the most polished facade can collapse when the foundation is built on lies. I know some people would say I should have just walked away, but I couldn't let her rewrite the story as if I were disposable. I needed her to see the cost of her choices. And though I'll never get an apology, never hear her admit what she did, I take comfort in knowing that for the rest of her life, when she hears whispers in a crowded room, she'll wonder if it's her secrets surfacing again. That doubt, that weight, is the only message I ever wanted to leave with her. For me, the chapter is closed. For her, it will never end.